I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy. Yankee Doodle do or die. A real live nephew of my Uncle Sam, born on the 4th of July.
The example of our two nations says it is possible for people to be united by their ideas instead of divided by their differences. It is possible for hearts to change and old hatreds to pass. It is possible for the sons and daughters of former colonies to sit here as members of this great parliament, and for the grandson of a Kenyan who served as a cook in the British Army to stand before you as President of the United States.
You know, I just thought yesterday he was Irish. Just 2 days ago, he was visiting his ancestry in Ireland, and now he's the grandson of a Kenyan. You know, this is starting to sound like we have Zelig in the White House. Welcome to the Savage Nation. 1-800-449-8255, you know what I'm going to talk about. It's about Michael Savage being banned by the so-called fake conservative government of Britain. I want to start with a dream, because my subconscious and I are on good terms. We speak to each other regularly. Most people are afraid of their subconscious. Most people block their subconscious. Most people are terrified of their subconscious, take drugs, drink alcohol in order to suppress their feelings or their subconscious, if you want to put it to you that way. But I've been in self-analysis for well over 40 years, if not more. I started at age 18 doing dream analysis, taught my children how to do dream analysis. I do dream analysis, and I constantly think about what I'm thinking and think about what I'm feeling and try to put two and two together. Many years ago, a professor friend of mine said, you know, Michael, you're one of the only people I've ever met who's totally in touch with his subconscious. So let me begin with my subconscious. But before I do, I want to thank a few people. Times like these tell you who your friends are. My friends are Joe Farah of WorldNet Daily, Matt Drudge of The Drudge Report, Chris Ruddy of Newsmax, and the list more or less ends there. There have been almost no articles other than on these major websites about the banning of free speech. However, I'm pleased to tell you that a liberal constitutional scholar by the name of Jonathan Turley, who I never met, who disagrees probably with everything I say or most of what I say, wrote a fabulous article on the ban of Michael Savage, and it's worth reading. If you're a liberal, why don't you take a look at what Jonathan Turley has to say before you gloat over the fact that the guy that you don't like, Michael Savage, has been burdened with this big lie. Now on to my dreams, because I have no control over them. Okay? You want to hear it? Because here's where it's coming from. You say to yourself, well, what makes you fight? What keeps you fighting? How do you do it? Why do you have so much fire? Why do you care? Why don't you just say, the heck with England, screw them, you're not going to go there anyway? Why are you fighting? I had a dream early in the dawn hours, close to dawn rather, that my silent brother, my deceased brother Jerome, who never spoke a word, never walked a step, I don't think he ever saw anything either. My silent brother was accused falsely by someone of committing a crime. And it was a white male accusing him of this crime or these crimes, and he was sneering as he was doing it. He said, your brother did this, your brother did that. And I said, wait a minute, he couldn't have done that. He was in a wheelchair. He couldn't speak, he couldn't walk, he couldn't do anything. And the guy continued to sneer at my brother, my silent brother, and said, no, he committed this crime, he committed that crime. And I said to him, you're a liar, and I'm going to prove it. And when I'm through proving it, I'm going to slay you. And I woke up in a start at dawn. And then I realized something. I realized why I fight. I fight for those who can't speak. I fight for those who may have a voice but who are silenced by our society. I fight for myself. Do you understand that I am you and you are me and we are all one together, to use the old Beatles song? Take it for what it is. Laugh at it if you want. I know there's a lot of cynicism out there. I understand that. I understand it's very hard to distinguish between what a guy is telling you is truth and what is made up. But the fact of the matter is, I've been tried, convicted, and punished without a trial in the land that gave us the Magna Carta. This is right out of Orwell. And all liberals grew up reading George Orwell. But now that they're facing George Orwell, it doesn't matter, because it's not one of theirs who received the bad news. 1-800-449-8255. Then I had another thought. I was laying in bed from about 4:30 in the morning, trying to think about getting up for the day and what I wanted to do on the radio today. And my mind was spinning. Darwin called it spinning-headedness. Today they call it a medical condition when you can't control your thoughts and they put you on medication. I got up and did push-ups. It always works. There's no need for medication from spinning-headedness. It's called a bright mind that has many thoughts. But many of you are afraid of a mind that starts to work. That's how your mind starts. It's how an engine gets turned over. Don't you understand this? It's not an illness. Your mind is turning over. It's like starting an engine. So what you do is you stop the engine from turning over and you start the engine and you start to think. You get up and do push-ups and focus on which one of those thoughts you want to work on. Remember what Henry Miller wrote? Each morning I wake up and 1,000 paths open before me. You can go in many directions any day. You have to decide where you want to go. It doesn't mean you're crazy because you have a million thoughts. I learned this 40 years ago. It doesn't mean you're nuts because you have many ideas and many thoughts. It means you're pretty smart. You choose which road you want to go down. No one's controlling you, you know? So then I'm laying there, the mind's spinning, and I'm trying to focus on something to calm me down, and I can't focus. And all of a sudden, the words Jesus of Nazareth come in my mind. And I don't want to turn this into a religious show. And I said to myself, you know, Jesus of Nazareth is a philosophically important concept. Let's put aside the religious connotations of the word Jesus. But Jesus of Nazareth is an idea, the same way all prophets are ideas. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Now, I understand hundreds of millions of people on the planet have peace through their religion, the religion of Christianity. When they think of Jesus as their personal savior, they become calm. They can face anything. They can walk through a storm. They can take a hail of bullets, and they have the strength that they need. But when I say to you, Jesus of Nazareth entered my mind without my reaching out to find that concept, I'm telling you something else. I'm telling you that there is calm in the middle of the world, and I know that there's the hand of God in all of this. So I'm very calm today, to be honest with you. I've been working since 5 o'clock this morning in trying to formulate what I wanted to say to you. Now, I can read you Jonathan Turley's article. I can read you the Great World Net Daily article. I can read you some other articles written about the story. And I may dip in here and there, but frankly, I think One from the Heart is far more meaningful for a radio show, which is a medium of spontaneity, if it's anything else. A medium of spontaneity. If radio is of any value whatsoever, it's a medium of truth and of spontaneity. Now, my monologue is pretty clever. It's entitled From the Nanny State to a Banny State in One Generation, B-A-N-N-Y. Yes, England has become a banny state. It's a bizarre and interesting fact that the land of the Magna Carta has gone from what we call the nanny state into being a banny state. They don't like what you say? Really? Well, if you're not a citizen of England, you're banned. Did you know what's going on in England right now? Do you know that there's a police unit right now in England run by Scotland Yard that is blurring the line between criminal investigation and a doctor's clinical decisions? Scotland Yard runs the shadowy unit, and it refuses to discuss how many suspects in England have been forcibly hospitalized by this team of thugs because of patient confidentiality. Are you aware that England has now become like the ex-Soviet Union, where they're arresting people under the guise of psychiatric treatment and putting them into hospitals under the Mental Health Act? Do you know that they're being put into prison hospitals in England? You don't know any of this. Instead, you want to listen to the grandson of a Kenyan cook tell you his malarkey. 1-800-449-8255, michaelsavage.com. Again, I want to thank Matt Drudge, Joseph Farah, Chris Ruddy, and all the others who have seen the bigger picture. I'll be right back.
Savage.